Heroes of Cosplay Sanctuary. This is your host, Scotty B. It's been a while, ladies and gentlemen, since I've been on the air. It's been a while since I've done anything with cosplay. It's been a while since I've looked into making any content for the brand, but here we are. And it is, of course, Halloween. And we're releasing this on the 31st. This is actually not pre-recorded, really, not really done in advance, not really done with any sort of script. I just thought I would make an obligatory Halloween episode for everybody tuning back in or listening out there in the interwebs to the Heroes of Cosplay Sanctuary, because it's still the safe place. It's still season 4. We're still talking about Inferno Saga, and we're still pitching ourselves shamelessly, and we're still wiping the dirt and dust off of our camera because we haven't really used any of this stuff in a while. The outlook for the show is the same, folks, although I think I am going to take a little bit of a step back from cons coming up. So just a little bit of an update about the show and how it will progress from here. And then we will get back to the regularly scheduled things that will be coming out. Maybe I will be making more videos in tandem with audio and putting that in more spaces because I've really been neglecting that. Something that I haven't done with the podcast up to now. Let me just move a few of these things around because it's not really, there's usually books over here, right? There's usually some books up in the corner. My Star Wars Heir to the Empire Thrawn trilogy is supposed to be showing in the background along with all of the fun stuff, the Inferno Saga stuff over there, because we're still in Inferno and it has been quite a firestorm. Nothing really relevant to the show, but I do need to take a bit of a step back from just producing content. There's just a lot of things going on right now that I need to address, and it's burning me out. So here we are. Also, my health and fitness is something that I'm really trying to focus on now. I have about 18 pounds to go before I can really fit into my Havoc cosplay that I have been working on, and pretty much all of my projects have been on pause because I don't really know what size I'm going to be for any of these cosplays, and I don't want to have to go back because I'm not really much of a tailor. I'm not really much of a foam smith. I'm not really much of a wig expert. I'm not really much of a makeup artist. I'm not much of a cosplayer, if I'm being honest with myself. And here we are on Halloween Day talking about how I don't have a costume ready, how I don't really have anything ready to go, as all of you I'm sure do. But I guess that's also why I'm not putting out a lot of content right now, because there aren't a lot of eyes in the podcast space for cosplay. There are not a lot of ears in the podcast space for cosplay. There aren't a lot of people really paying much of attention to anything. They have been hitting con after con after con after con right now, and I kind of burned myself out at Emerald City Comic-Con, which was a great show. There was a lot going on, and really was the first time that I've been able to wear complete cosplay to a convention. I haven't in the past. I've usually just gone as me, as Scotty B, Heroes of Cosplay Sanctuary. Sometimes I'll wear the shirt, but it doesn't really matter because, 15 people might actually know what that means. So the first time that I really ever wore a cosplay, I wore Joel, Last of Us, in Seattle for Emerald City Comic-Con. Was fun. A lot going on. There's a lot to see. I don't think I could get to everything. Didn't really even do the panels, if I'm being honest. Really didn't look at much of anything, but very fun, very unique convention overall. Big. So yeah, I mean, it was much bigger than C2E2. I thought it would be about the same size, but it was not. It was many buildings and many floors and many levels and many vendors, and there's just a lot going on. You're going to need, like, there's a reason why that's a 4-day event versus a 3, like most of those that I do go to. So we are very likely going to put things on pause for a while, and we will be thinking about what we want to do to just move ahead with the content, finishing out season 4 and going into season 5. Everything is up in the air. Everything is up for grabs. And there could be some major shifts to the way that the show is created. I know I've said that before, and it's actually happened. There have been some major shifts in the way that the show has been created. I've been recently inspired by another YouTube channel called Cultaholic Podcast. They're a great group of folks who talk about nothing but wrestling, and they kind of brought me back into the entire thing that is wrestling. And this is really a cosplay podcast. This is really a cosplay show. So we really can't talk too much about that in general, but it did get me thinking about some things that I really do enjoy and that are part of my fandoms. So we will probably be bringing those back. I'm not going to give blow by blow on all the stuff that's going on in whatever version of wrestling that you're into, AEW, Impact, or WWE. There's many others. There's Japanese wrestling. There's all sorts. I will not get into detail here on the show about that. You can go and watch a million other podcasts or watch a million other YouTube channels for that kind of information. But it is a point of interest for me, and it is going to factor into just the kind of direction that I'm going in for the show. Really from this point forward. It's a little bit of a pivot, and it's always okay if you do pivot. It's always okay if you retire a character in cosplay. It's always okay if you don't try to get to every premiere and try to stay relevant on social media, because you know what? At the end of the day, nobody pays me to do this. And I don't really know whether or not, I'm trying a few things out here. I'm trying to see if there's really any difference. Do I get more reach when I do things this way versus that way? Do I get more engagement when I do things versus that way? The old 100 videos that weren't that great, is this just another one of those, or have I actually turned some sort of a corner on my content, which is kind of what we all want to do? And I do see a lot of people do that over the course of time. I've seen many cosplayers grow and become very prominent in the industry, or, well, we won't call it that. We don't like to call it an industry. We like to call it a community. So the very prominent in the community, I've seen people do and be so expressive with their cosplays. Of course, we have a group doing Inferno Saga right now, and most of that is filmed. We've got a few people, including myself, that need to get that going and taken care of. It's really just going to be it's a trailer video, folks. I've talked about it before on the show. It's going to be like 3 or 4 minutes long, but it was a lot of fun to conceptualize, to put together, to storyboard, to get the folks that are involved, and we're really excited to do it done, filmed, all on their own, all remote, putting all of these things together and creating a cohesive story, a cohesive trailer for the Inferno Saga, which of course I've gone into in detail in earlier podcasts, a month ago, 2 months ago. I don't remember when the last one I did was, actually, because it's been a while. It has been a hot minute since I have said anything or talked about anything to anyone on what the show is doing. And that is also going to be a thing of the past. We're not going to just come out with an episode every 2 or 3 months to go, hey, what are we doing with the show? What's going on with everything? Because that gets old. Like when you just every time you talk on your show, all you're doing is talking about the next thing that you're going to do on your show at some point in the future, which really doesn't help anyone. You want journalism, you want topic, you want guests, you want to learn something about cosplay, you want to learn something about how you do all of this stuff. So we got to bring on people who know what they're doing in this space. We got to bring on people who want to talk to this audience and tell them about their experiences in cosplay and tell them about what goes into making the costumes and what are the pain points and what all of this is, and that it isn't just jumping on the fame monster bandwagon for social media. It's about creating. And if you have that in your DNA, if that is what you are about, if you are somebody who likes to be in front of a camera and who likes to be on photo shoots and who likes to wear really uncomfortable shoes because that's what cosplay is all about, and you like to glue things to your face, then go into cosplay, because that is what you will be doing. Honestly, my experience at Emerald City Comic Con and just in general, and why I've taken a step back, is because I believe that we have reached kind of a boiling point. And I see now that cosplayers honestly they don't really take care of themselves. I think it is unfortunately a young man's game. Sorry, ladies. It's just a turn of phrase, but to say that, this is something that is really designed for a much younger audience. This is something that requires quite a bit of stamina. It requires you to really burn yourself out for quite a number of days and to do it repeatedly. So you are traveling from con to con to con to con. You are wearing all of these costumes at every single one of these events, and it's really exhausting. And you really burn yourself down and you break yourself down and you end up getting sick and you end up having a lot of other issues on the side. And you end up having, possible financial issues because you're just burning yourself completely into the ground, staying relevant, going to these events. And honestly, a lot of people actually just go to see the celebrities. The draw for the cosplayers is, yes, to be in cosplay and to do the shoots to some degree, but the other draw really is to get in front of the fandoms. It really is more genuine in that respect than I guess what I perceived, and that I guess is really it's just really a great thing. It was also, just something, going to as many cons as I did this last year, seeing everybody be just so inviting, accepting, excited to see the people in the costumes, to see the people in the cosplays, and to just meet with each other and to be present in that space with everyone else. So that was really just a very genuine thought process, but wildly expensive. If you have to travel anywhere for a con and you're flying or whatever you're doing, you're trying to bring all these costumes with you, it is wildly expensive. And I don't recommend that anyone just jumping into this. I don't recommend, really, unless you're a pro, unless you're like traveling the circuit, I don't recommend that you do a ton of conventions all over the country every single year. It's exhaustive. It gets a little samey. And really, the what's in it for you, if you're already producing the content in the digital space, going to the conventions, if it's not a local footprint, because cosplay, honestly, if you're starting small, you're probably going to have a relatively small footprint. So doing local cons is good. If you live in an area where you have a lot of local conventions, that's great. Or if you don't have to drive that far. But flying all over the place, flying down to Georgia, flying over to New York, flying to Seattle, because I'm kind of in the middle of everything. I'm in the middle of the United States, but I'm also as far away from everything as I could possibly be. So it's very difficult to get to all of these. And 2023 is going to be a big step back, not from creation, but from travel, from going to the cons. I'm not going to do C2E2. I'm not going to do any convention next year. I'm going to sit them all out because conventions are expensive. And we might break that down in a future episode just to tell you exactly how expensive these can be. Of course, the cosplayers do have ways around this. And if you are a sponsor of some kind, that is a little different. So you're not actually paying for anything, then it is a little different than it's just your time. But finding time is also a problem. Like, I think I've pretty much maxed out on anything that I could do vacation time wise, because I don't have summers off. I don't really have any time off. And being able to find the time to do the events is also a big deal, because if you go to 3 conventions, that's pretty much all of your time off. If you don't have any recovery time after the convention, for somebody like myself, that can be a big problem as well. Generally, what ends up happening is I'm going to be on my phone doing work things anyways. And that kind of kills the whole thing. Like, it kills the atmosphere. It kills being able to just have space for the hobbies and the fandom. So that's what's going on today. Probably the biggest day of a cosplay of the year. It's when we all dress up. And actually, I think there are some philosophies inside of the cosplay community where the dress up is more fun on Halloween, where it's more casual. It's like casual cosplay day, instead of going so crazy to put together these really elaborate, very built costumes that are relevant to the movies that are coming out right now and are relevant to all of the pop culture things that are swirling around right now. It's really just more like, I want to do something fun and simple, and I want to just get out there because, it's just fun. It's time to have fun. It's time to celebrate Halloween, spooky season, which is usually the entry point for a lot of people in cosplay. And that is what is happening today. So happy Halloween, everybody in this space. This is about as cosplay as I get. My Raise a Cult bookstore shirt from Ghostbusters, which is a little tease into season 5. And we're going to be talking about something strange, because a lot of strange things are going to be going on in season 5 when we finally do get there, but it might be a while, folks. Season 4 is going to carry on as long as it's going to carry on. We are going to have a video, a teaser at the end of the season that will celebrate the Inferno saga, that will celebrate Inferno season 4. And I'm looking forward to bringing that project across the finish line. Rest assured it will. Maybe not today, maybe not tomorrow, but it will get completed. And I'm very excited to have that done. But we have a lot of work to do between now and then. What better day to start than Halloween? Of course, it's a Monday. Halloween is on a Monday. So of course, we're just going to start as hard and fast as we can. in everything cosplay, and of course in all the other things that we're working on behind the scenes. And believe me, folks, it's a lot. It is a lot going on, and it takes up a lot of time. So definitely understand if any of you are going through similar things. Of course, you can always leave comments and hit the like button as you are going through. If you're watching this, of course, on the podcast, you can always leave me a review, or you can do whatever you want. You can go to the website too. I'm going to be revamping that at some point because we need to fill it out a little bit better, and we need to maybe eliminate a few things. So there will be some changes to the website. There will be some changes to the branding. Well, maybe not a lot of changes to the branding, but we're going to update things as we're going here. And it'll probably take a year to get it all done. And we'll see what that content looks like, both online on platforms like YouTube and in podcast, but also just in all the social media spaces as well, because we have a lot that we can do that we really don't. So that's all I've got for you today, folks. Thank you so much for being here. Happy Halloween. This is Scotty B with the Heroes of Cosplay Sanctuary saying bye-bye, everybody.